Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today the Duff Dog and I got a real treat for you. Another barn find. This one's a 68 Ford, we think. So, part of an estate sale of a co-worker's dad. There's a 68-72 Ford grain truck. This is like a 5-window, 47 to 53 GMC. Here's what we're after. Little go-kart. It's been sitting about 20 years. I think it's on like a 68 LTD frame. Well, 68 Ford. That's what the intake says. C8, powered by Ford. It's a small block. I'm guessing 289, maybe 302. She's all homemade. It's got our second favorite most wheels, Keystone Classics. Yeah, a couple tires are down, Ford 9-inch. Some pretty neat custom stuff been done here. So let's pump up some tires and get her out of here, huh, Duff? All right, tires are pumped up. This thing should roll pretty easy. Looks like it's got power steering. So I'm sure that'll whine, typical Ford things. It's got fluid in it. And fancy zoomies. Cute little chrome air cleaner. Does it turn? Oh yeah. She's good. Looks like they use the bottom part of the core support for the radiator. And the fan maybe chewed through that once. Got some support straps. He did a nice job of building a floor, actually. I don't think those are 68 Ford seats. Looks like we got our ignition switch, starter button, shifter, steering. Could use a little bracing. Brake pedal just kind of made a firewall, and then kind of made a footrest for the passenger. Yeah, that would be a little hairy. You know, at least you got a steering wheel to hang on to over there. Nothing over here to hang on to. We looked in the fuel tank and it is no bueno. It's got some freaking meats back here. White letters out, of course. Supercharger by Kelly. I think they're 15s even. All right. Let's see if the R series will drag it out here. Well, we made it home. Nicholson Racing, he's gonna come put some ball joints in his toter mobile. He was pointing out the Mickey Thompsons on the back. I corrected him. I said, no, those are Kelly Superchargers. They're the N50s. This guy's nickname was Snooch, so I think we're gonna call it the Snooch Rocket. Kind of offshoot of the Snout Rocket. What do you think about that, Duff? Are you actually gonna ride on this thing? Yeah, probably not. Well, you gonna unload it for me?
We're shooting for a 1919 root beer sponsorship, so if you're listening, get us in on that deal.
It's not the kind of sandwiches we enjoy around here.
MRC sandwiches.
Sissy sandwiches. All right, let's get this thing unloaded. Nicholson already wants to take it on race week. Well, that cap was just laying there. The Chad said, well, I know where that goes.
I figured we could have a little breakfast, and then maybe after we could have a little Chad.
Stuffs it on there. I was like, where's the other 7? You need to quit with the menthols. They're abandoning those things. Oh. I wonder if we can find a date on this battery, see when it was run last. He's a Delco. I'm guessing it's been 10 or 15 years, judging by what they said. We'll see if we can find a date code on that. Digging through the granary, found some sweet valve covers too that coaxed them into sending with this thing. We got some chrome tin ones. They're not the Edelbrocks. These are, what do they call? I think they call them the Elite series. Not my favorite, but they're aluminum, and I got a thing for aluminum valve covers, or just valve covers in general. Made in Taiwan. Yeah, these are just your no-namers. It does have disc brakes on the front, so I don't know if LTDs had disc brakes in 68. We're gonna have to do some digging, see if we can figure out what this is, but pretty sure it's the engine belongs in this thing. And like I said, she's a CAE, so 68. I'm guessing 289, but we'll have to see. What do you see under there?
Got the 9-inch. This thing's beefy. It's like a race car.
We're gonna have to chase down Cletus and take on, what's he call that thing?
Leroy.
Leroy. We'll call this Elroy. Just kidding. It's the snitch rocket. Let's get this thing up in the air. Take a look at the bottom side for no other reason than it's on the hoist, so we may as well. I want to know if it's got a posi. I feel like I would have pushed in a lot harder. Also, they said one of the last times they had it running, they had just retarred the asphalt by where this thing was stored, and they were doing burnouts on the asphalt, and you can see the tar stuck to the back of that seat. So not only do you got nothing to hang on to, you're getting hot tar slung at you. This tire seems like it's got a little less tread than this one, so I think she's a one-wheel peel. But those tires were pretty fresh. I mean, they don't have a ton of miles on them. All right, let's get her up in the air. Well, we spun the tires, and usually if they spin opposite directions or don't spin, it's not a limited slip, not surprised. You can tell it's a 9-inch because of the way that it is, or that you can't get a socket on this bottom bolt.
You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
That tells you it's not an 8-inch. There's our tarp strap that's holding our fuel tank in. It's got 2 hooks. Coilovers with coils with coilover shocks. Oh yeah, because race car things. And then, yeah, it's a 3-link design. Snitch only owned a stick welder, so all these welds are done with a stick. Look at the wood that he's using as a spacer between the floor and the body. That's pretty ingenious. That's not structural wood, so, I mean, it's fine. U-joints seem tight. Battery box is plenty stout. I mean, could at least use some treated boards. But she is a greasy pig down here. I'm guessing that's a C4. I don't know much about Fords. Maybe it's like a Cruise-O-Matic or a Ford-O-Matic, but who knows. Apparently the engine mount either broke one other time, or he was preparing for it to break, or it's broken because, you know, it's chained down because race car things. Looks like it's got some pretty fresh Autolite plugs in it. Must have gave her a fresh tune-up before he parked it. Where's the oil filter on a Ford? Oh, there it is. And a new fuel pump too. With that oil filter, the old Baldwin. Is it a B2? I don't know. Isn't that what Ford uses, B2 Baldwins? Looks like that could be old. Power steering pump's got a little leak to her. And then, like I said, that's got disc brakes up front, so that's kind of cool. And then it's got one of Ford's goofy single arm lateral bar suspension dealio thingermaboppers here. Yeah, no real surprises under here other than, you know, the wood. That's about it. Not much to see on the Snitch Rocket. Ooh, there's a tag on the Diffie. What does it say? It looks like it's a 300 gear ratio, so yeah. He's gonna be a highway cruiser. Looks like the fuel line's a little kinked off there, but we're gonna unhook that anyway, because like I said, that fuel tank, she's nasty.
Oh, that's nasty.
But plenty of hose clamps there. All right, let's set her on the ground and get after it. Get off your phone and get to work.
I don't want to interrupt your video with diesel noises.
Diesel noises. Can you make diesel noises for us?
No.
Do it! Brr, 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 brr. Whee! Well, let's get this battery out of here and try to find a date code. And then try to figure out how to date code a Delco battery. That's probably why this thing was so fast, because it's a Ford with a Delco in it. Oh yes, we get sweet adapters out of the deal. Tech tip of the day, if you got a Ford and they got these starter solenoids, you just hook your loser switch up. Usually there's 2 terminals. There's only 1 on this guy, so you got it right, but I assume it's the one closest to the battery cable, and then this other side just goes right down to the starter, so easy peasy lemon squeezy. So now if we turn our switch on, see if we got spark. It's only been sitting like 10 years, so should have spark, right? Wire out the coil, aim it at the carburetor full of bad gas. Oh, we got sparkage. Easy peasy. It's like, you know, Snooch Rocket wants to live. What's with that look of disdain?
Got yourself a new golf cart now. Keystone.
Golf cart. You know what it needs? We need 8 tractor flaps so we can have all the tink tinks going. Just tink 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 to tink tink tink. What's up, Pays?
You have I?
You look like you just woke up from a nap. This a bit. Dad do your hair today?
No.
Yeah?
It'd be way worse than that.
Hey, can you say cheese? Cheese. Oh boy, you are a Krabby Patty. So much for having you do guest appearances ever again.
She's tired.
Also, we noticed these are a Unilug wheel and they don't have the Unilug washers. So this thing is just riding on hopes and dreams here. Good times. Are you done swapping ball joints over there yet? No. Curiosity got the best of me, so I had to clean the tag up. Sure enough, it's 300s, so land speed record time. Checking her all out. You see the wood body mounts? Oh yeah.
It's a good isolator.
Perfect. Our fuel tank out of there. Look at how long these tarp straps have been on there. Literally. Gotta peel it off. Or maybe he put it on there right after he painted it. Who knows? But, let's see if we can show you guys in there without... Oh my gosh. It just reeks too. So, we're gonna stick one of our own tanks on there. Yeah. Look how rusty that is. Yuck. It's a shame because he built this nice bracket just for this. Wasn't quite the right width, so we cut her down with a torch. Put a backer on there. All right, now to go find one of our boat tanks. Got our boat tank back here. And in theory, if we hook this up to the right side of the switch, no, we don't want to have it on that side, on that switch. We should be able to run our pump. Like I said, in theory. I think we just gotta find a good ground. There we go. And we got a leak. All right, better address that. Whoops. All right, let's try her again. Oh. Yeah, I forgot that I unhooked the line up here. Whoops. Well, the good news is, whew, we flushed some really stinky gas out of there. So, should be able to hook that back up. Man, we're just making a mess of the floor today. Sorry, Greta.
How dare you!
All right, 3rd time's a charm, right? Probably not. What are the odds the accelerator pump functions? I can hear fuel getting up there. No accelerator pump action. Nice part about these Fords is though, you just take 4 screws out and you can swap it out. Well, let's give her a tickle of hot sauce, see what happens. Here we go. Slingshot. Oh, let's put this in park. Or what I think is park. We're off the ground, so we're good to go. Slingshot engage.
Slingshot engaged.
Why do we got no engagement now? Oh, it's because I got it bypassed. No claps from Paisley though. Yeah, that tire's really round. No big deal. We gotta. Oh yeah, real round. We gotta find out how to get her in the park. Bazinga. All right. Park must be all the way ahead. The shift linkage in the snooch rocket leaves a bit to be desired. Let's see what happens. See the wheels turn. Hey, we found park. Perfect. How's the power steering? Just kidding, there's no weight on it, it don't matter. Could raise the steering wheel up and out. Definitely needs an accelerator pump. All you gotta do is put zoomy headers on basically any engine, and all of a sudden it's a race car engine. If that engine's in a car, now it's a race car. And then you can start a race car channel. He's not paying attention to us anymore. Before we go for a rip, we better see if... Oh, yeah, that's part of the reason we don't have any brakes. Sweet. Oh, man. If we ran a vacuum hose, we could have power brakes pays.
If you want a long vacuum line.
But I mean, race car things, we don't have no vacuum assisted brakes.
Race cars are life, man.
Except for yours.
Sucks the life right out of you, you mean? Tag team the brake action. Paisley held onto the steering wheel. Oh, we got some front brakes. Oh yeah, good stuff. And we did nothing on the rear brakes. So, perfect. And when we took the air cleaner off, I noticed we got a choke delete option going on here. Snutch wire wide open because we're not driving it in the winter. In the winter time? Yeah? You'd drive this in the winter? Meep meep. So, we'll dig through my stash, see if we can find a accelerator pump for this thing. Because we're gonna need all the horsepowers. And then somebody's gonna go grab their draggy, and then we're gonna do 60 to 130s, is that what you said? I'm gonna watch.
From that seat?
I'm gonna watch from a distance. No, not from that seat. You go get your open face helmet. Okay. Paige wants to rip this thing real bad, don't you? Let her eat. I don't even know if Duff is gonna, I don't think Duff will ride on it. I think he's gonna see the noise and the seat and the lack of any surroundings and the tire chomping at his tail and be like, no ma'am.
You guys are idiots.
How do you like that thing, Paige? This thing's pretty awesome, huh? Yeah. You're gonna be the new star of the show. Look out, Duff. Fuel tanks not going anywhere. You gotta make sure you say that every time you tie something down with a ratchet strap. But you already knew that. No pays, you can't go for a ride on this thing. I don't think Duff wants anything to do with it. He's just hanging out up there in the grass, pulling weeds in the flower bed. Let's see if we can make it around the yard. I think we ran out of gas. Good thing I didn't go out on the highway. These headers make it a little tricky to top off the ETF. There. Just about a gallon, as usual. I know. Don't be a wank. Fill your tank. We gotta funnel this jug here. Sure we won't spill. Spoutless, that's what I meant to say. Oh boy. Got the old Kelly superchargers pumped up to 32 PSI. Optimal for making all the white smoke. What do you think, Paisley? You think they'll make any white smoke? Yeah? I think so too. Or they'll just go zzz and not make any smoke at all. All right. See if we got a transmission and fuel. The whole shifter scenario is not ideal. And the brake pedals should be like up here and not down here. And the steering should be like up here, not down here, but we'll work on the ergonomics. Snitch is probably a little bit different size guy than me. Yeah, we're starting out in reverse. Oh, we got some blow-by coming out the valve cover. Oh, what the heck? Better see what we got going on here. I wonder why it popped right off the bat. Paisley, gonna give her a shot of hot sauce. Take the nipple off there. There you go. Now we'll see if she goes. That's the beauty of this. You can see everything from the driver's seat. It's like it's not getting fuel up to the carburetor for some reason. Surely it can't be our old reliable fuel pump from Amazonia. Well, I guess let's pull our fuel line off. See if we can fuel up there. So we got our fuel hose off in between the carburetor, which Ford's got their fuel filter, the inlet here, and this fuel line. Let's see if we got fuel coming out.
It just got through. That's coming off or not.
Well, what a debacle that has been, but we finally got fuel up here. All because our fuel tank ran out and we lost prime. Turn the pump on, look for leaks. Looks like we're good to go, so let's put our cute little Mr. Gasket air cleaner on. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, we need to figure out something with the shifter. You can't leave it running or it might drive off on you. On. Oh, she does burnouts. Real good. Duff, I don't think you want to ride in this thing. This thing is a freaking hoot. This thing is a great parts runner. We're working on something else that we probably can't talk about. But we need to get some radiator brackets. So we've been running back and forth between Square Body Skid Row in here, Mickelson and I. This thing works freaking great. We gotta do some, we need a basket on the back for parts and for tools, like a three-wheeled bike. And it maybe needs cup holders, you know, because you want to stay hydrated because it's not really that hot today. But yeah, then we need to make some type of bracketry up there for putting tools in. Needs a little toolbox up here. So yeah, this thing is good. It's already paying itself off. What do you think, Duff? He wants nothing to do with it though. He just wants to chase it around the yard. Well, see you later.
Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
It's either really cold-blooded or really needs an accelerator pump.
I think it really needs an accelerator pump. Good point. Found it. It's in the wrong row.
We need to clear out the trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Duff, you get so excited, buddy. That steering wheel's got to come up.
Yes.
So much torque.
All right, it is hotter than a mother trucker, and we are back on the Snutch Rocket that doesn't have AC. We got a few things to address. First thing, let's get that accelerator pump replaced so that this thing's got some get up and go. And then maybe we should test. We gotta figure out a way to test it. I think I got an idea. But we're gonna put that accelerator pump in. Basically, it's just these 4 screws right there. Swap our new diaphragm in there. Mojo, he repainted the floor. I don't know why. That's what he wanted to do today. I suppose he had the paint out. He made us cup holders. How about that, Duff? Not that we condone drinking and driving, but I mean, you can have a cold Sun-Kissed riding with you, or Dr. Pepper, or whatever flavor of choice. Oh man, he even got overspray on the gas pedal. So yeah, we've been doing some brainstorming on what we're gonna do with this thing, because it lit off way too easy. So we gotta make some content for you. So we're thinking, you know, some safety stuff like a hoop, maybe some lap belts, maybe some work on the shifter so that it don't just flop around in there and jump into gear when it's idling. We'll pressure washer up, maybe even change the oil. How about that, Duff? Yeah, probably not gonna give it a tune-up or anything. And, oh, the fuel tank. So Mojo, he pressure washed out the fuel tank for us today. It didn't look that great, but it didn't look that bad. I think we could probably run a filter and be okay. So I said, let's throw a little Evapo Rust in there, a gallon to be exact. This stuff works really good on fuel tanks. Probably works on other stuff as well. Oh yeah, you can see her doing some stuff with the rust. We'll set it on this end for a day, and then we'll tip it on that side and this side, and we'll play around with it a bit. Like I said, it doesn't really look that bad in there, but I just like the fact that that tank, it's kind of got a spot on the back of this unit for it. And then also my boat tanks, they're a hot commodity, and we're always needing to steal them, so I hate having one on here permanently because then I'd have to find another one. We're also on the lookout for some gears. It'd be nice to find like some 456s, 410s, you know, with a spool so we can spin both tires. We're even talking about maybe doing what do you call that thing? A drift handle, where basically you got a master cylinder hooked up to a handle, just hooked up to the rear brakes so you can lock up the rear brakes. How neat would that be?
That's pretty neat.
But anyway, I feel like you gotta have both wheels spinning and you gotta have some good gears in combination with the drift handle. I feel like with a one wheel peel and the drift handle wouldn't work that good. So we're gonna get working on that stuff, and maybe we'll adjust the steering a little bit, play with that brake pedal, move it up. Maybe get rid of these lines that have 1, 2, I feel like there's another splice in there. I don't know, I don't like splices and brake lines, so make some new brake lines. And then gauges, we should hook up some gauges. I think we could mount some gauges right up in here, and then we could keep an eye on everything. As far as, main thing is the water temp, just to make sure she's not getting too nasty, but oil pressure would be all right. And then a tack, since we don't have a speedo, so at least we can figure out, you know, how high we're revving this thing when we're floating the valves. So, we got some stuff to do. Let's do that accelerator. I don't know what happened. It was not pumping gas in there. Now it's pumping gas externally, so I think we tore Duff's boot. Well, sure enough, in dinking around with that accelerator pump, we tore our new boot. I think it's just not, I don't know, passageway is plugged up or something. So, gotta figure out what's going on there. Take our torch tip cleaners and maybe some compressed air and see what's going on. Well, let's pull this thing apart so we can't get it cleaned up. Figure out where it's plugged up at. It don't look too bad in there. There's a little sludge in there. We'll try to poke through those jets. That jet on the passenger side looks plugged up for sure. There's a power valve down there. And then our accelerator pump, fuel comes in that hole. And then as you hit the accelerator pump, there's a hole in the top that you can't see. But I don't know where that passageway goes to, and somehow it has to tie into these guys. So maybe we'll pull those apart and try pushing air through the other way. I'm not really sure how these things work. Carburetors in general just are not my thing. At least I'll admit it. All right, I think we got her fingered out. So, fuel comes in this top hole, runs into here, fills up the accelerator pump cavity, and then the hole on the bottom is actually got a passageway that comes up to here, up to here. There's this little check ball right there. You don't want to lose that. And that basically keeps it so every time you accelerate or hit the accelerator pump that fuel can't gush back down. It keeps that cavity full of fuel so you don't have to hit it a couple times to prime that circuit back up. And then sitting on top of that ball is this rod, which is basically just a weight, I believe, on that ball. And then you got, I don't know, your venturis on top of that. So the fuel goes in the bottom of this screw, and then comes out these orifices on the side, and then it shoots out these little orifices right here. These were plugged up, I think was the issue. So we should be able to put this all back together. Probably put our old accelerator pump back in there, because I think it was fine, and it was just plugged up in here. And we screwed up our new one. We should be able to test it out. Just drizzling some gas on the top of the carburetor here, without having to put the top on. Okay, now that's stripped out. Oh no, it's not. It's just not in place. There we go. See? Just take it apart, clean it, try to figure out how it works, and then put it all back together again. Here's our old dried out accelerator pump. It doesn't look that old. I'm guessing this one had been replaced from drying out another time by Snutch. Make sure you put it together the right way though. You gotta have that button towards the front. There's a guy around here named Buttons. You know what Buttons spelled backwards? Snot tub. Just so you know. The more you know. Race car spelled backwards is race car. Who'da thunk? Drop our floating needle and seat assembly back in place. Now we should be able to turn our fuel pump on and hopefully it doesn't overflow. Isn't nature neat? There you go. Needle and seat's doing its thing. How about our accelerator pump? Oh yeah! Look at that, just coming out. Frickin' sweet! This thing's gonna be so fast now. Turns out it didn't need an accelerator pump, which they usually all do. And we wasted a perfectly good new one, but live and learn. You learn from your mistakes. That should be one smart SOB. Right, Duff? Don't answer that. All right, let's put our carbonator all back together now. Basically all that accelerator pump does is when you mash it, it gives it a big squirt of gas to keep the thing running, fatten it up, which is really handy on a piece of equipment such as this. When you're cruising, it doesn't get used, but it's hence the term accelerator pump. Upon acceleration, especially heavy, quick acceleration, it gets used. Now let's see how responsive she is. Let's get our poor little Cyclops out of here so it doesn't get sacrificed. Alright, try number 2. It's flooded, imagine that. It likes it. Oh man, this thing is like a whole new beast now. Oh, can't wait to rip on her some more. So we hooked up our brake booster here, and go ahead, fire it up for us. Show us what happens. Watch that pedal. We don't even have the booster hooked up. Now it's not doing it. Are you kidding me? All we had to do was threaten taking it apart. That's what I was doing. We fired up and it sucked that pedal right to the floor. Or maybe it's because we got enough, Mojo's got enough of a leak on his.
Oh, she toasted now.
Or did you just lube that up just now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But that shouldn't have made it want to retract. We're trying to figure out the black man. Mojo, he told us never to mess with automatic transmissions, but he said he thinks there's a sensor or something in there. Gotta be a sensor, he says.
You gotta have something.
Try her again. Just. Of course, now the starter is about ready to give up the ghost. Yeah, do it. Maybe we fixed it. There. Oh no, it's coming back. Do it again.
Listen.
Oh, and it's stuck too. We also, when we pulled the master cylinder off, there's a whole bunch of brake fluid in there too. So I think we need a booster. But we might have power brakes. Maybe. And we definitely got to put some better glue than silicone on that fitting, Mojo.
Just in case.
What do you think, it's going to work?
Yeah.
It's going to be just fine. What do you think, Mojo?
No way.
I feel like it's going to go to the floor.
We just fixed it.
See what happens. It's slow, but
I wonder if that fitting's just leaking so much that it doesn't matter now. Yep, it's going down.
run her up and down a few times. Okay, that's good. Now tap it. What's that?
Swing down there when it's mounted in the vehicle.
Oh. That's why we got you on the payroll, because you're smart. Mojo said there's supposed to be a return spring on there. We're idiots.
Yes.
Where's the
Go get a throttle return spring. That'll be enough.
we're just gonna grab one of this farm truck here. Right, Duff Dog? Yeah, see that spring up there? We just need one of them. They'll be good to go. I mean, doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
You got a pedal that doesn't return, like put a spring on it?
Right.
No! We're
So
dumb.
it's all fine?
Don't even laugh at us. All right, yeah, hooked a spring to that lever up to the top of our firewall. Does that look like about the right spring?
Yeah, looks like the same one.
I'll give her a rip tater chip. Let me get these. Let me spring into action right here. Dad jokes. Knock those sunglasses off your face. It's already better. Turn the ignition switch on. Oh yeah! Lug nut, fixed it.
It's the lug nut. Fixed it.
That's only fronts. I think it'll be better when you're not pushing it with your toe down there, like if you get it up higher. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Yeah! We got a new Kool-Aid man in the house. Duff is not sure what to think about. Well, I think he's already made up his mind. He's like, I am not riding on that thing. No way, Jose. Mojo, just for that, you were an employee of the month, 3 months running. Yep, pat on the back on his brand new shirt with pocket that he doesn't ever put anything in. All right, sweet. Well, now if we move that up, we're gonna have to find a different spring. Dang it. Oh, that's one problem solved. So all we did there is this fitting was busted, so we grabbed a different fitting. Couldn't find them the same size. Mojo glued them together quite poorly at that, but he made up for it with the spring situation. And we took out a plug up here, put a 3/8 fitting in there. And we got power brakes. Way better brakes. Cool. And old Billy Gunn, he brought us a roll bar. He thought they had a tubing bender, but they didn't have any dies for it. So, I mean, what good is a tubing bender without any dies? But he bent that up. It ain't the prettiest. We're gonna graft that on the back here. And then we're gonna run some kickers off the side, down the front. We got Vanna White over here is gonna model it for us. I think it's too tall. I think we said we were gonna do it at like 32. I think it was gonna be like right here.
Let somebody sit in it, see where their head's at.
Yeah, I had Billy Gunn sit in here. He's a bit taller than me, yeah. So I think 32 inches be up here. And then we'll put these guys. We're gonna bout him. We'll cut them down a bit, but this will come off of there so that you it's not tight up against the seat. And then it'll hit the frame up there at an angle, so you got somewhere to lean your arm on. And then we're gonna put a tube up front. We're gonna get rid of this guy. Put a tube there. It's gonna be way good. Right, Mojo? Thumbs up. All the way around. Hey, and we found out your cup holders, they're not good enough for the big mugs, for the you know, if you're into drinking water with ice in it and such. But we'll let it slide. Oh, we did so much brainstorming last night. We got the footprint gas pedal. Then we got the oh darn handles to put in the middle there. That's a good idea. And then Mickelson, he was a nice guy, brought his mustache pickup over. He brought us some fancy racing seat belts. Oh, there they are. Well, now you're figuring out what we need. We could have a 4-seater koozie up there. Then you'd have spares, you know, if you're going on long hauls. Mickelson wants to take it on drag week because all you need is a horn, lights, and that's it.
Yeah, street legal.
Street legal. So these are out his 65 Impala, I presume.
Impala.
How do you say it? Impala or an Impala?
Impala.
Yeah, you own one, you can't even say it right. It's an Impala. Impala, not Impala. Impala makes it sound like you got a speech impediment.
Facts.
So you just have a speech impediment. Like Mike Tyson over here. But anyway, so how do these things, so we just have one point that they tie to?
These here are your shoulder harnesses. And then you got...
So how many tie down points do we need?
How many are you gonna use?
I mean, if we were, these are a 5-point, right?
This is a 5-point. So you got one in the back, one on each side.
And then one below the
And
manhood.
then one below the manhood, that's your 5th point, and that keeps you from going up.
Or forward, like underneath.
No, that doesn't keep you from, keeps you from going up. Keeps you from going up. Keeps you from going up.
How, can you do that again? From doing what?
These keep you from going forward.
So you got up top, one on each side, and then one on. So why do they call it a 5-point?
Because you have 5 belts.
5.
Four mounting spots, but 5 belts.
Gotcha. So we can probably tie. That's what I wanted the roll bars for that top one. The other one's gonna probably be to the tunnel, unfortunately. Which that tunnel's plenty heavy for what we're doing. And one to either the hoop or the floor or behind the seat, whatever. Okay. And what's the deal with these? These are no good because they're valid only until June 30th of 2020.
Yep. You have to buy $80 seatbelts every 2 years
COVID killed these seat belts.
for NHRA.
Hey, they're from Jupiter, Florida. You ever been there?
No.
You ever been to Florida, Mojo?
Nope.
I've been to Orlando.
Been cold.
Been close, he says. You've been to Georgia. He really likes Florida Georgia Line too. You like that country band, Florida Georgia Line? Never heard of them. We don't know what Mojo listens to. He just listens to awkward silence in here. Duff's breathing.
Listens to Duff.
And Linda. Linda tells him what's up. Okay. We're gonna do things now. So excited we got brakes. And oversized cup holders made out of drive shafts. Right? Drive shaft?
Yep.
We got another one of those or only one? Oh, dang it. Well,
3rd wheel.
3rd wheel.
You're a tripod.
And then Mojo's playing around with the shift linkage up here. So there was this little linkage hanging out up here, just kind of flopping around. That was the factory linkage, I assume. Coming off the column maybe? And that was kind of binding up on the frame, so he took that off and he said it's better. And then we got a whole lot of play right there. And I said, why don't we just come off with a new arm up here and go back to the shifter and then just get rid of all of this stuff up here. It takes a lot of play out of it, and then the geometry of this lever down there, you know, it's so far ahead that you don't have the leverage, you know, as if it was straight down. You know what I'm saying, geometry. So we're gonna try hooking it up here, but then Mojo said, well, then your shift linkage is gonna be backwards because you're on the top side of this pivot versus the bottom side. So then I told him, instead of hooking it up here, we can move this pivot point up to here and then hook the rod on the bottom side. So that way our shifter isn't backwards, because we don't want it to be backwards because we struggle with daily life enough the way it is around here. We don't need backwards shifters. We'll be running into poles and such. All right, we're gonna do things now. All right, all them hoodlums took off. They're good help, but it's hard to film with a bunch of people around. So Mojo used some, oh, that adhesive is not gonna work either. We gotta find something better. That's the adhesive that I use for gluing rear view mirrors on. It's a 2-part epoxy, and I've had good luck with it on mirrors, but I don't think it's working for plastic, so. We just gotta find the right frickin' fitting, and Ford's got a bigger diameter one on this thing than we're used to, and maybe a small vacuum leak will be okay. Let's get to welding this hoop in so we can get some seat belts. What do you say about that, Duff? Billy Gunn, he did this up and bent it, so it's really not structural. It's pretty heavy. It'll be plenty good for seat belts. If we roll this thing over, we're not relying on this. So what I'm gonna do, you know, that being said, if we were gonna do it all upright, we'd get DOM, we'd put the right bend in it, and we'd have kickers, and we'd have it welded to the frame and stuff. What I'm gonna do is cut a hole right here. We're gonna drop it so it's touching the frame. We'll see if we can get it on the hoist and maybe even weld it to the frame. We're just gonna weld it to this, I don't know, it's like 1/4-inch plate. And it's, you know, tied in a couple spots. It's gonna be plenty rigid for seat belts. Like I said, no bumpers, no dash. This is not how you build a roll cage. It's a little bit for aesthetics and for the seat belts, just to keep people from shooting out of the thing. If this thing goes endo chotch flipping, RIP guys. It was nice knowing you, but we're not gonna do anything crazy like that. So, that being said, I'm gonna get our holes drilled, and then we're gonna weld this thing in, and then we're gonna put our kickers on and do all kinds of fabric hobbling here. All right, let's do this. I tell you what, I am no expert hole driller. I know you gotta go slow, and a little oil helps, but I always check where you're drilling. Sure enough, that is our fuel line right there, so that's awesome. Good news is we'll just cut it off right about there and move everything, but what are the frickin' odds of that? And I mean, there is the frame right there, so if we really wanted to get crazy, we could cut this open bigger and weld it to the frame, but it's kind of at an angle, and it is what it is. It'll be easy enough if we really want to get crazy someday and put a real hoop. We'll cut this one out and doctor it up right. Just wanted to show you that we found the fuel line. Okay, I'm gonna get that fuel line out of there, set our bar up there and make sure our other mark is right where it needs to be, and yeah, we'll be welding in no time. We got one side done. Did a bunch of fiddling around. I had some gaps to fill because, you know, cutting angles and notching tubing is not our area of expertise, but filling gaps is. I kind of set it at the height where your arm could just rest on that. Should be good to go there. Here, I'll give you a little demonstration. Look at this. That's good. Catches you right in the ribs here. You can hang on there. You got yourself a nice old crap handle. Billy Gunn, he wanted us to move this thing up here, but he's like 6'4". I think this thing will be just fine. He can wad his legs up a little bit. It'll be just fine. All right, other side's gonna be a little bit more work because, well, we got that firewall to work with, but we should have our dimensions pretty much figured out from this guy. You know, we should probably make it symmetrical. You're not interested, Duff? Yeah, he doesn't care for this thing, other than to chase it around the yard. Oh, hey, look, Mojo pressure washed this thing. Did you know that C4's had aluminum bell housings? I bet you did. So did I. Well, this thing was just a grease ball, and he's got her frickin' spotless. Mr. Clean, that's what we're gonna start having to call old Mojo. He makes her happen. Okay, let's get that other side done. Move on to something more important, right, Duff? Yeah, like going for RIDEs and stuff with doors. All right, we got our kickers for our roll cage welded in. This one didn't go so bad. Learned a little from that side. Got a little bit better cut on this side so I don't have as much gap to fill. Same thing up here. Notched it a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna wrap her up tonight. Got some oil for this son of a biscuit. We got the Delo CK4SN something or other 1030. And look, we got a red filter. It's a Baldwin V2. Snooch likes red. I hate red. I was thinking we should paint this roll bar red for all Snoochy, but let's just paint it black. I think it looks pretty dang good. For the 5-point harness, I think we're gonna have to put a bar across there. And we're kind of running out of time, so I think we're just gonna bolt the seat belt over here and bolt her over here. Call her good. We don't need the manhood hugger strap on the bottom. Probably not the shoulder belts, so they'll just be for looks anyway. But that's what we'll have to do is they hook up here, kind of like that. So we have to run a bar across. I was hoping this bar would be long enough, but it's not. Story of my life. So we'll be back tomorrow. Oh, we got these sweet handles we come up with for hanging on. Shouldn't really need one on the driver's side, but passenger can have one to hang on to. So you got this guy to hang on to and that. Get your feet to brace against that. Should be way more safer, especially with a seat belt. All right, I've had enough of this cricket chirping. See you in the afternoon. You hungry? What are you cooking for supper? All right, sounds good. I'll have that. Well, trying to drill these 4.5-inch holes for the taillights. That one's looking pretty good. I think the Milwaukee here is about ready to give up the ghost. Yeah, if you hold the trigger, the smoke's coming out. R.I.P. Milwaukee. Ugh. Well, I tried looking for the corded 1/2-inch drill, and I can't find it. I got a little tiny 3/8 Milwaukee. Suppose that'll do it. Nope, because we need a 1/2-inch bit. Just my luck. Looks like we're gonna have one taillight. Awesome. But we got more important stuff to do, I guess. You ever just feel like throwing things, Duff? He's already hiding under there, so it's not me making him scared, but oh, good stuff. What flew off? Oh, it chipped the floor even. Oh, the trigger. Probably because it was so hot. What a deal. Well, I tell you what, these DeWalt 18 volt, they don't hold a candle to the Milwaukee 18 volt. This thing hardly has any hours on it. All right, what else can we do? So we got our shift linkage all cleaned up, don't we, Duff? Look at this. We put a nice adapter bracket on, bolted her down there, and yeah. So we got rid of all this wizardry, bracketry, pivot linkage stuff. And then we just cut the end off of the existing rod, and then we use the existing clamp, slid that over it, so we got adjustability now. The only problem is our shift linkage is backwards. So park is all the way back, and then all the way ahead is low. But we can raise this bracket and shift linkage up to here, and then move the pivot down to there, or not the pivot, but the rod down to there. And then it'll be back to the way it needs to be. Like we're ever gonna do that. Well, look at this. Footprint gas pedal. Had to move that over and up a bit. So we had to move our hole over and up. So all we gotta do is fish our throttle linkage through that, and we'll be doing awesome race car stuff. Thanks Super Dave, who hooked us up with the pedal. He's the same gentleman that hooked us up with the UPS postal right-hand drive Jeep video thinger. What do they call that? A PJ postal Jeep? I don't remember what it was, but anyway, good dude over there in Blue Plater land. All right, let's get that hooked up so we can at least drive this thing. Still got to do the seat belts. We got to paint the roll bar. We got to do a few things. I'd like to raise that pedal up. But we're just running out of time this week, so all this stuff frickin' takes time, especially when your drill takes a dump and you can't find your other one, and you spend a half hour looking for it. You still don't know where it's at. All right, hopefully we don't need that for any other projects. Oh, if ever gonna need it to ream that hole out. Sweet. Maybe we'll hit up Pookie, see if he's got a drill he can borrow us. It's so bad when you have to borrow a drill from the neighbors. You don't even have a freaking 1/2-inch drill around here. All right, I'm gonna see what I can do to get that throttle linkage hooked up. I feel like these reamers, maybe these things are awesome. Oh, we should be okay. Nope, that's 1/2-inch. Son of a biscuit. All right, I'm gonna hit up Pookie. You absolutely cannot make this up. This thing was smoking like a bandit just a second ago. It's fine. I don't think that hole's big enough yet, but we'll get her. I just missed it with the camera. This thing's toasty. I guarantee this thing has drilled more holes than that Milwaukee ever did. This thing's been good. If that thing bit the bullet, whatever. Gonna be an expensive week here at the shop. Okay, carry on. So here's our situation here. He just took I think it's like a PTO shift cable, and soldered the Ford throttle connections on, and this nut won't fit over it. So that explains why he had this notch here. No big deal. We'll just have to make our own notch. Nothing's ever easy. We're making it look pretty crude too. Oh well. Good enough for the girls we go with. So I went to Pookie's, got another Milwaukee, and this one's letting the smoke out too.
It's a great day to be a drill at the Mortske shop.
Oh, it only smokes when you let off. Just keep spinning. It's like a diesel, you gotta cool it down once you're done with it. Good to go. Let's see if Pookie's Milwaukee has any better luck than mine. I'm not hitting the tree. Oh, the battery decided to let loose on this thing. Well, that's a legit Milwaukee one too. Wow. I didn't even throw it with that on there. Just can't have nice things. Finally! Now we just gotta bolt our taillight in there and we can get ready to wire them up. At least they're in. Well, that's awesome. Oh, how satisfying is this? Here we go. Taillights are in. Now we just gotta wire up a brake switch and a headlight / taillight switch. Ready to go. Wonder what this chunk of iron was that Snitchy used there. Got a little rolled edge in it. Looks pretty good, whatever it is. Guessing it's some type of signpost or something. Would have been cool. We could have snuck some Cadillac taillights in there or something. Who knows? Okay. Throttle pedal is done. Whoop-ah! Whoop-ah! All I did was drill a hole big enough to fit the nut through, so 3/4, and then took a washer, put a little niche in there on each side, drop those over it, and then I didn't have to do the sweet notch in there. So it should be pretty good. Should probably put a throttle stop in there so you don't push her too far and either bend something up there or pull this cable apart or who knows what. I'm sure nobody will ever overextend the throttle. You know, he's just running with a piece of wire. Just wham, wham. Okay, man. Let's get the seatbelts tied down, and we're kind of running out of stuff to do. Yeah, right. Not gonna run out of stuff to do. Let's get those in though. That should have been a priority a long time ago. The Milwaukee held up. Thanks, Pookie. You owe me a battery though. I'm crossbreeding. They don't like that. So I think what we're gonna do for seat belts, I'm just gonna take this lap belt, put it right through that plate. I mean, that's 3/16. It's pretty heavy duty. Good enough. Well, one down and 3 more to go. I got her tied in pretty close to this weld joint here, so it's not out in the middle of nowhere where that plate can bend. Should be pretty freaking rigid. And I got a lock washer on there, so it can't rattle loose. All of the moderate safety measures and things. You know, safety third. Okay, let's do the same thing. Probably just, you know, I wonder how hard it would be to pull the seat out and then we could tie it to the side of the tunnel. And it wouldn't look as cheesy. That sounds like more work. Duff said, why don't you talk to that Tiffany? She said, dum-dum, slide the seat ahead. So with the seat slid ahead, I think we got enough room we can drill out that tunnel. Plus, we're way at the back of the tunnel here. We're tying 3 pieces of metal together, so it's a pretty solid mounting point. That a Tiffany, real nice lady. the old reach around access hole here. Oh, snitch left this plate long, it's not trimmed off. Dang it. There will be no reach arounds with my arms, not long enough. There we go, bada bing, bada boom. One set of race car lap belts. Now, I just need to figure out how to latch the things. I mean, how hard can this be? Or you just slide it in like a regular seatbelt. And then clasp that over. So good. Flip that open. Let's get one on the other side, just in case we decide to take somebody for a spin. Man, so much safety. Stuff is good. Let's put these oh dang grab handles in place. Figured right about there, line up with the cup holders, that way you got room in between each of your hands. So you're not, holding hands, because we don't do any of that Brokeback Mountain stuff here, Mortske repair. I'm gonna clean the paint off, I'm gonna burn those on, and then I think we're gonna probably call it a night. Hey, Duffle up, I guess? Yeah. All right, there you go. We got the grab handles burned in. Do not grab them. Oh, I got that one too far ahead. Oh well. This is just all good practice fabrication. Anywho, yeah, let that cool off. We can paint those, and we can paint these. Yeah, this thing's about ready to rip. Just got to mount our fuel tank back up there and figure out our fuel line, if we hose that up or not, or if we need to hose it up, get rid of the line, put in the hose. Dad jokes are the best. Anywho, it's about that time, so I'm gonna shut her down for the night. I'll see you tomorrow. We got back to the shop, heard a little noise. It ain't crickets. Old Pookie's finally picking up his bales. Tag teaming it, 2 at a time. Look at this. Oh man, he is a smooth operator. He just needs a spear on the back so he can get 1 or 2 more back there. Watch him bang her into road gear and just bounce down the ditch. He's a madman, Duff. Getting after it. All right, I guess we better get back to our trash box. Right, Duff? Yeah, I suppose. Who likes like 1985 Chrysler Fifth Avenues? Those are good ones to pick up, right, Duff? Well, that's the most interest you've had in this thing. So we got the shift linkage reversed, put a little lift kit in here and raised our pivot up to there. So park is all the way ahead, reverse, neutral, drive, 2, 1. Just how it needs to be, except for it's right in my knee. So we gotta refabric and cobble that. Got our poo handles painted up. And then I don't like this steering, so we're gonna redo something. These are 3/4 inch 36 spline. So what I'm gonna do, this has got that rag joint. So we're just gonna put a knuckle right here, and then we can put it at whatever angle we want and not have this big ugly PTO spline. And then we should then it won't be floating out here in the open, because we have it it's solid, at that pivot point there, and then up to the person here, and then you know what I mean, it's gonna be a lot more rigid, and we might make it even more rigid yet, but I want to get that in place because it's got to come over about 2 inches. It needs to be shortened up a bit, and we'll put a little bit better steering coupler on there, because I'm sure Snitch was a good welder, but I don't really like that. So I got a steering wheel coupler, and I got a knuckle coming for that, and I got a 5-foot chunk of shaft, which is not gonna be enough, so we'll have to figure something out there. And then once I get the steering wheel where it needs to be, then we'll move the brake pedal, because that thing's got to come up, and I want it to go that way, but then it's going to be interfering with our steering, so who knows? We might have to bend the pedal and work that over. But we don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Because we are running out of time this week. So we got to get the gas tank back on this thing, get her back on the road. Right, Duff? Do some donuts yet, even though you won't ride on it. Just for all you Mopar guys. Chrysler 5th Avenue. Maybe it's a New Yorker. I don't know. It's pretty awesome. Wire hubcaps. Those were the days. All right, we got the Mopar unloaded. Back to this thing. Got her set on the ground. Steering hook back up. I got this old toolbox. It's red, so it matches the rest of everything. Found it in a scrap pile somewhere. She's pretty light duty, but it's still got a latch. Missing the handle. Thinking about putting that right in there so we can throw some tools for running parts and, you know, put your registration and insurance. And then I whittled out these brackets here for the light bar, but I'm not sure if I'm in love with this. I think some KC daylighters would be freaking sweet, but those cost real money. I try to keep it about as low profile as I could get. I don't know. We'll see. It's easy enough to take back off, I guess. But I looked up the KC daylighters, like those 6-inch KC daylighters with the sweet happy face cover. I think like 4 of those would be freaking sweet up there. But they're like hundreds of dollars, and that's about all this thing is worth. Wow, I mean, it's gotta be worth thousands of dollars now with that footprint gas pedal. But I've had this light bar kicking around forever, so we're just gonna burn it on there for now and call it good. It's about the right freaking width, at least. I don't know. I think it just jumbles things up. Comment down below what you think. I think we'll just tack it on there. There's nothing more permanent than a temporary tack, Duff. Okay. Yeah, I guess I just took a Bush Latte apple box somewhere and made a little cardboard template and whittled those out on the Beverly and then ground them with this little guy here. Yeah, and then of course I stuck the fuel tank in, so now's a real good time to weld it. Should we see if we can blow our faces off? Speaking of that, we gotta close the door because the wind's coming through here. You can see it blowing your hair around, Duffle up, I guess. All right, let's get that on there. And then once these are tacked, I think we can go ahead and do some foo-foo cannon and get out here for the night with the fumes. I still think, I mean, we could put shoulder belts on, but I don't think it's worth it. I think these lap belts and these bars are good enough. All right, before we drop that any more times, let's get it tacked in place. I better test it out. Used to work. Gotta hook the battery up. Didn't want to burn up my computer while I was welding. All right, slingshot engage. Cover your eyes. Oh yeah. All right, we know the lights work. Let's get to doing some painting. Cause I got high, cause I got high, cause I got high. Do 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 do. Who sings that? Afro Man. Yeah. We're gonna be huffing some fumes in a second. All right, give her a quick shot of spray paint. I use Pour 15. I use the good stuff on here. And of course the can got about half empty and decided it doesn't want to work anymore. So that's like 20 bucks down the drain. Well, half of that, 10 bucks. Anywho, we're gonna let that dry and then we'll put that back on in the morning. And we'll ram a couple of bolts in that toolbox. We're gonna be ready to go for a test trip in the morning. Battery's unhooked, welder tanks are off. Let's call her a night. What do you think, Duff? Do you think I was actually gonna wait long enough for the paint to dry to put it together? You're right. We need parts for another rig. And the parts rig, I think, is across the yard, so let's test this bugger out. gosh, the skaters are terrible, Duff. Oh, son of a biscuit. That light is blinding. Watch out for that door. Watch out for that tree.
George, watch out for that tree!
No bugs. It's pretty bad when you need a helmet when you're not driving it. So I think it's the first time driving with the power brakes, and those things got to go because it is way too grabby. But the light is nice, and the toolbox is way good. I guess that'll make life easier when we redo the brake system. We can get rid of all that ugliness. Maybe? Yeah, that's paint you're smelling, you goon. Okay. All right, back to the other project. Needed a shift linkage. All right. Morning, folks. As you can tell from our test drive last night, we had to adjust the brakes because the power brakes they lock up. I don't know if it's because there's no weight. I don't know if it's because the booster's shot. I don't know if it's because we got the wrong spring geometry or wrong spring on there, but those things had to go because it was just grabbing going around the yard. So if you came into a corner at 20 mile an hour to slow down, they're just gonna lock up on gravel anyway. I don't know what they're gonna do on asphalt. And since Duff won't ride on this thing, I got a little surprise for it. That's right. We're bringing the mullet back. I'm sure old Snutch, he had a mullet at one time, so I'm gonna go get all costumed up and go for a ride. Speaking of costumes, I don't remember your name, but somebody that works for Haybuster, I think they're out of Jamestown, North Dakota, and then I think he's in Nebraska. He hooked us up with this sweet hoodie. And look at this. I don't usually drink bottles, but it's got a lanyard with a bottle opener on it, and it's stretchy so you can share it with your friends. Look at this. How neat is that? It's got a little kangaroo pouch here that I can't open with one hand. But anyway, there's a can koozie in there built in, so you can carry a sandwich in your belly and it doesn't get your belly cold and it keeps your beer cold. This is great. And it's like nice lightish material, so it works great this morning because it's, I don't know, 60-ish degrees, a little chilly. Not enough for a full-on sweatshirt. Did you know that the Canuckistanians, they call these bunny hugs? I mean, hoodie or bunny hug? I think bunny hugs, pretty sweet. Anywho, shout out to Haybuster employee number 1 that hooked us up with this sweatshirt. It's pretty swanky, I like it. We'll have to try the sandwich holder out. All right, let's go for a test drive. All right, let's see if we can figure this whole seatbelt situation out. Snug her up a bit. Oh yeah, I like these big wide straps. Don't dig into your waistline. Yep, that's steering wheels. Gotta get snugged up, go over this way, ahead a bit. Shifter. Be nice if it would be back here. That's kind of the way your cup holders. I don't know. We'll work on that. Let's do this. Oh yeah, I don't have the electric fuel pump hooked up anymore. Oh yeah, it needs a fuel pump. The mechanical one. It's working, but it's leaking because the diaphragm dried up. It's leaking out the weep hole. And I said, hey, why don't we just plug the weep hole? Mojo said, you can't do that because then it runs into the engine oil and then you end up like the Slant 6 and the King. And wiping out the bearings. So tech tip of the day, don't plug the weep hole. Probably works fine on a water pump, but fuel pump, you get fuel in your bearings. It's no bueno. Bearings don't like gasoline in them. Anywho, it's on the list. We got one ordered. All right, let's do this. Slingshot engage.
Slingshot engaged.
Oh yeah. I love the sound of open headers in the morning. Brakes are better. Not so grabby.
least 2 feet because your right foot can't reach over the brake pedal. I don't know how the sound quality is going to be for you kids, but you're going to have to bear with me. This loud exhaust and this loud hairdo, not a whole lot I can do for you.
We got to address that scenario. I don't know why it's running so poorly. It was running great before. I mean, this thing's still pretty freaking awesome. But we got to address a fueling issue. Maybe it's a little bit of timing. Definitely seems like fueling though. Well, there you have it, boys and girls. We got the old Snutch rocket back on the road for the first time in at least 10 years, probably more like 15. It didn't take a whole lot to get it going. I mean, Snutch was looking down on us. He said, "You boys want to have some fun? I got your back." We didn't even have to give the points to the old Mortske flick. We swapped a fuel tank, threw a battery in it. She lit right off. We bled some brakes, and we had to make some filler content, so we made some improvements. Well, Snutch, he wasn't safety oriented. Jan Sauce, his daughter, said first thing he did when he got a lawnmower was threw all the safety guards and switches and all that stuff that you don't need. He threw that away, so I figured we should at least have some seat belts, so we did that. Put a roll bar in there, aka light bar mount, some kicker down bars to hang on to. And we're gonna keep making some improvements. So we got the footprint gas pedal in there. We got the toolbox. We got the old crap handles. We improved the shifter. I want to move the brakes and make them a little bit better, easier to get at. Move the steering wheel, make that a little bit more rigid. Maybe put some gears in it. What do you guys think? Should we put a posi in the back of this thing and a little bit shorter legs so we can really get after it? We got to address the carburetor, and since we're doing that, we might as well put a 4-barrel intake on it and put a 4-barrel Edelbrock or Holly or something on there. We got to put a fuel pump in it. Maybe put some tanks on the rain cap so we can leave it outside and not have to worry about filling the cylinders with water. I don't know. Put a high energy ignition on it. Maybe get crazy. Swap a cam and lifters in there. Comment down below what you want to see with this thing. Maybe we'll bring it back for another episode. Maybe we'll just bring it back on the second channel. Go check that out if you haven't. More Mortske repair. This thing's good. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it or what I wanted to do with it, but I think we're hanging on to this. We could do some fun stuff. My original plan was just to steal the 302 and automatic and use for a donor for like the 53 Ford F100, but I think this thing's too good to blow apart. Or maybe we steal that out and put an overdrive behind it, put in that 53 F100 and drop an LS in this, and then we'll do a cam swap, some valve springs, maybe put some turb skis on it, make our own little vet cart. What would we call that? The La-Ti-Da cart? The intergalactic cart, since we think it's like a 68 Galaxy. I don't know. Just comment down below what you think we should do with this thing. For now, it's just gonna be a have fun rig, and we're gonna use it for running parts around the yard and stuff. Maybe we'll take it through some parades. We hate parades, but this thing would be kind of cool. You know, hang a flag off the back. Do some burnouts in the middle of a parade. Is that frowned upon? Probably. Anywho, thanks to Hey Buster for providing us this sweet sweatshirt. And thanks to Rhombus guys for hooking us up with some iconic blonde ale here. We'll crack one for old Snutch. Here's looking at you, pal. I asked his daughter what he liked for beer, and she said, well, I used to like Bud Light, and then he went to Coors Light. And to be honest, there wasn't a beer he didn't like. I'm on board with that. I'd never met Snutch, but I think he'd been a pretty cool guy. I think we got along. He was into some pretty cool stuff, and he liked free and or cheap beer, so. Okay, on to the next one. We gotta get Duff trained into riding on it though, so, you know, it's not really fun just driving around by myself. It's hard talking to my mullet. I mean, it's not hard. I like talking to my mullet. I'm sure people have been begging for the mullet, so it was due to be brought back. All right, remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. And by golly, go-karts are fun. Go build yourself one of these. Don't get in trouble with it, but have some fun with it. And remember, kids, safety third.